This is Green Grow Alpha House Worm Project. Here we have our system based on bioremediation that will process 10 tons of organic matter per day. The organic matter is brought in by a truck on the rail line that I'm standing on now. The wheels, as you can see where my feet are, will run on the line through this, what we call the thermo line. Organic matter is mixed outside through a roller in a very easy system, and this then allows for bioremediation, which of course will make sure that any negative pathogens are rendered inert. Here we have earth moving machine preparing the line for the thermo line. Mixing the ingredients, here we have mixing different carbon ingredients to get the right carbon nitrogen ratio. Over here we've been running some trial experiments that are feeding the thermo line. As the truck comes in, its wheels don't damage the pipes below, and it drops off the organic matter. Outside, as mentioned, it has been mixed. Any form of matter can be used, which is mixed on a cement floor, and then the right carbon nitrogen ratios are worked out, and then it is rolled over with a rolling pin, a big one. This is the forced aeration. And that pushes out 3,000 liters per minute. As you'll notice, each block is labeled a day. This is block Wednesday. And the reason for that is the system is designed on a 5-day week profile. On Monday, organic matter is brought in, 10 tons, and it is dropped off on what is known would be the Monday section, which would be approximately here, and this will take approximately 10 meters, roughly 150 kilos per square meter over the thermo line. Through the process, by next Monday, this will be harvested and then fed here through to the worms. As you notice, there was a lot of activity in the worms. Now, as you can imagine, this entire lines are filled with worms. The organic matter breakdown conversion is accelerated as at the moment there is not enough feed for these lines. One of the challenges we've actually been having is not having enough feed despite using earth moving equipment, because the system is eating 10 tons per day. Below, you'll notice I've designed the system with a sump. The sump runs accordingly, which then works on a closed loop formula, recycling any leach that has come off the substrate. At present, we are manually hydrating the colony, as education and training is imperative. And we are using a bacteria inoculated solution that I've cultured to get these lines up and running. Of course, in future, the system will of course work on irrigation, temperature control, moisture control. And of course, as you can see, we have tried to, with limited budget, darken the area as best as possible. At present, the worms are on quite a measly diet. You can notice in the their size and not that fat. On the certain trial experiments that we've been running, such as over here, you can see a slightly darker. We've obviously worked out the perfect recipe to feed a healthy colony of worms, which is obviously based on a phrase that I've coined as reverse binary fission. This is using or making the bacteria work backwards and understanding that there is an exponential, or there would be a lag phase with bacteria, an exponential growth phase with bacteria, and then a stationary phase with bacteria. In between the exponential and the stationary phase, there's much to debate about, but the concept of what we're achieving is holding that phase, that stationary phase, at a constant, by constantly nurturing the entire system with the different cultures of bacteria. Now, at the back, you'll notice a big green 10,000 liter Jojo tank, and that would be used to culture a biota. And the biota, we will obviously use the ingredients of molasses, a carefully structured recipe from our side, which we will apply. And this will be heated at 29 degrees in an aerobic state, in an aerated state. This will be fed through to the thermoline. On the worm lines, we will be using and culturing Lactobacillus, which is an easy culture to achieve. And again, very simple process, feeding the worm lines to accelerate and to create a microbial utopia, ensuring the worms are able to achieve a population of approximately about 26 kilograms per square meter, which has phenomenal applications pertaining to the processing and stabilizing of waste. When we look at the statistics or the numbers, walking in here, we would be able to bring in 10 tons of organic matter, and that 10 tons of organic matter, if one had to stretch it over a 30-day period, would be broken into 1 ton of vermicast. The vermicast will be an extremely powerful, rich medium, and beyond its NPK abilities, it's more its life-giving abilities, certainly from an organic farming perspective. As you can imagine, on a 30-day profile, one can obviously multiply 10 tons by 30, and obviously working out that you would be achieving 30 tons of vermicast. With an application of vermicast being a 1 to 10, would mean that 30 tons of vermicast could therefore be profiled to 300 tons of workable, powerful medium. Here we have the misting system. It extends the entire line. It's over the thermo line, and this is used to control the temperature. It creates a middle line, dropping obviously the humidity and the temperature. We've obviously worked out accordingly to very rudimentary methods how to control the perfect environment for the right correct of microbes and for the worms. So for everybody it gets taken care of, and this is obviously through our temperature control. Again, temperature control. Here we have sprinklers on a set timer with the correct amount of moisture required. The system is self-regulating in the sense that it is closed loop. The water, the moisture is caught in a sump and then redirected on the worm lines. Temperature obviously is very critical, and so is water, but the correct balance between temperature and water needs to be achieved almost to a scientific perfection, or as close thereof. By doing so, we ensure a utopia for the necessary result of worm utopia. All moisture leaches obviously into a sump and is redirected. As you can notice in the lines here of the thermo line, any leach from the substrate is then put back onto the thermoline to ensure that all pathogens are destroyed, creating a closed-loop biosecure system to render any form of OM, organic matter, into a stabilized feed medium to be fed to the worms. From a practical perspective, as one can understand, as the truck comes in, there is labor required, and for the labor to be required, it feeds the thermo line, but it means that on 700 square meters, you can continuously process and allow the machine to run. So it is done from a forms follows function with two lines on either side and the center line. Of course, the thermo line is also there to control the temperature. At the moment here in the winelands, we are experiencing cold temperatures. So the worms are struggling a bit. We are maintaining good temperature in the substrate, but this still needs to be brought to a higher degree. Once with the thermo line with the sprayers, we will be able to manipulate and control the temperature to what we wish to achieve, an ambient temperature and moisture. Here we have Solomon, experienced driver, going to bring the tractor, demonstrating the feed. Yeah, here we have Solomon on the tractor, runs through the thermo line, Obviously here needs to be more reinforced. Height of the diff, it's good, it's nice, so we have a little bit more to get. Here we have the misters and the sprayers running simultaneously. Drop in temperature, controlling of humidity, imperative to be able to run this operation all year round at 365 days a year. Okay, here we have mixing 300 kilos of organic matter, right carbon nitrogen ratio. Crushing, nice. Just killed by the big roller. Okay.